Hello, and welcome to the Carla Knits podcast. This is the podcast about knitting, crocheting, and always all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Saturday, February 8th, and I'm coming to you from my home in Nebraska. A big hello to all returning viewers, and hello and welcome to anyone who is new and stopping by. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a few weeks, but I'm really happy to sit down and share what I have been working on over these past few weeks, and we'll go ahead and get started. I hope that you are all doing well and are enjoying whatever crafty projects you might be working on. So before we get started, I just wanted to share what I'm wearing. This is my Soldotna. Hopefully you can see that. So this is the Soldotna by Caitin Hunter. This is a sweater that I knit back in 2020. I needed something bright and cheerful, and this definitely fit the bill. And I had seen Christy Glass, who's pretty famous in the knitting and crochet world. She had made this Soldotna. She's made a number of them, but I tried to replicate her colors. So I'm going to put a picture in here, and I think I really did a good job of replicating her colors. I just really thought it was a fun color palette. So I haven't worn this in a while, but when I put it on, I thought, yeah, I definitely should pull this out more often because it's a really fun sweater to wear. So I have a couple of finished objects to share with you today. The first is a scrappy pair of fingering weight socks. I think these turned out so fun. These scraps of yarn were left over from my Advent swaps that I did in the Carla Knits group. It was the 12 mini skeins of Christmas, and I had swapped with 3 people. I had crocheted granny squares from those minis, and then with the leftovers, I knit this scrappy pair of socks, and I just think these are so much fun. I did weave in all of the ends. It was actually really relaxing at the end to just turn them inside out and weave in the ends. So a really fun pair of socks. This is the second scrappy pair of socks that I have made, and I really don't know why I don't make more because it's just really fun to do this. I still have some leftover yarn from making the granny squares and making these socks. So I want to show you what I did. And after this, I still have some more, but I made this little coaster. And this coaster pattern is by Darcy of Chit Knits. This was posted in her Ravelry group in, I think, December or probably January of 2024. And I think, well, I know it is archived in Darcy's Chit Chat Knit groups on Ravelry. It's called the Endy Bits Mug Rug? Endy Bits something. Endy Bits something. So the idea was to use scraps of yarn to make a, just a simple little coaster. I did magic knot my yarn and, make a magic knot ball. And so some of those things show. I had hoped, maybe that I could make some for gifts, but I don't really want to do it when I have those little, I don't know if you can see it very well, those knots together, or those little knots in there. But the idea was that you could take 3 fingering weight yarns and hold them together. And I think it was on a US 3 knitting needle. And so it's a pretty dense fabric, really nice for a coaster. So that used up some more of that yarn. And then I have a little bit left that I could make a second one. So I may do that. This was a really fun, quick project. So those are my scrappy socks and Endy bits. So that is probably all you will see now from my mini skein swap. I know the last 2 times I have shared those crocheted squares. So I have gotten a lot out of those mini skein swaps. The crochet squares, the socks, and then a coaster. So thank you to my swap partners. I had so much fun with all of my projects. Another finished object I have is another pair of socks. And I'm just gonna get these on the sock blockers. So I don't know, I'm trying to remember if I started these in, it's on my Ravelry page, maybe December, but maybe January. I am not sure. Anyway, I do have this finished pair of socks that I'm going to show you if I can get these on here. Just wrangling them on there a little bit. All right, I guess they're not too crumpled. This is another vanilla pair of socks. So I just do 20 rounds of ribbing, 2x2 ribbing. I usually go up to a total of 6 inches from the cuff for the leg of the sock. I add in my heel flap and gusset and then go down the foot of the sock. This yarn is by Lazy Bee Yarns, who is a Nebraska dyer. I got this yarn at Knit Paper Scissors, which is one of my local-ish yarn stores. It's in Lincoln. And it's called Scenes from the Snow Globe. And I think it is really, really fun. I just love those little speckles of blue in there and the pink and red. I don't know exactly how it's reading on the camera, but pinks and reds and whites and some blips of blue and white. These were just a really fun pair of socks to work up. The blend of sock is a 90-10, so 90% merino, 10% nylon, and they're just very, very soft. So a nice soft squishy pair of socks that I finished. So having fun with my sock knitting. I will say it's been a busy start to 2025. Hectic start for various reasons. And I definitely gravitated towards reaching for my socks. It was just, you know, after a busy day or even just a few minutes during the day, it's just something really easy to pull out and knit on. The other projects that I have finished are also a very nice, easy project to pull out and knit on, and that is some dishcloths. So I was gifted a Hobby Lobby and Joann gift card from my parents for Christmas, and so I did pick up some. I love this cotton yarn from Hobby Lobby. And I am making a set of dishcloths for my sister for her birthday, which is in May. So I'm getting a head start. But this is just a basic knit, garter stitch dishcloth. I have used this pattern before. Let's see. It is just a really basic dishcloth by Carolyn Stanton, who goes under Carousel Designs. I believe it is free on the Love Crafts website, and I will make sure that I link to that. I had first heard about it from Amy of Noble Character Crafts. I know she uses this dishcloth pattern too. And so I have two in the Buttercup colorway, just a nice cheery yellow. I tried to do coordinating. I have 2 that are in the Paris in June colorway. There's that one. And this one I needed to pull my leftover Buttercup just to finish that off, but I think it matches just fine. So I have those 4 finished dishcloths, and then I am working on 2 more in this bright color, and this blue is called Royalty. So this goes into my works in progress. So I'm going to make 2 in this color. So hopefully they go pretty well together. I just thought it would be nice because I know my sister enjoys dishcloths, or when I have gifted her dishcloths, and I've gifted her knitted ones and crocheted ones. So I just decided I was going to knit some up. And I really do, you know, it's funny, I love this cotton is the name of that yarn from Hobby Lobby, but it really is so nice and soft to work with. So I really do enjoy working with this cotton. And this, again, like my sock knitting, is just really nice and easy to pull out and, you know, knit a couple rows. I take it with me to work in case I have a break. I can knit on that there. So I definitely have been grabbing sock knitting and dishcloth knitting in the month of January. I also have a skein from Hobby Lobby of their scrubby yarn. I don't think I brought that in today, but maybe I'll take a picture and insert it. I plan to make a couple scrubbies to go along with it. And again, I tried to coordinate the color with these dishcloths. So at some point I'm going to crochet some scrubbies for this set. All right, so those are my finished objects and my first work in project, the dishcloth. Let's see, going on, oh, I should have shared my dishcloths. I've just kept my skeins and my finished dishcloths in this fun bag. This is a Bags by Awesome Granny bag, and I've had this for a number of years. I absolutely love that fun fabric, and it's got red polka dots on the inside, so really, really fun. So I have a cat named Reese's, and she loves to find the most comfortable spots in the house to take naps, and she generally has her favorite spots. But one day, I guess I had come home from work and I had put this bag on the tape on, we have like a little skinny table that's by our stairways, and I had set it on there and it had fallen over. And then she decided to nap on it that night when I was going to pull out my dishcloth. So I decided, okay, I need something else. And so I started another simple project, which is a hat. And I shared this yarn last podcast. This is Lion Brand Wool-Ease Fair Isle. This is in the denim lilac colorway. So this is categorized as a 4-weight yarn, but it really is quite a thick yarn. The previous hat I had made was the Old Bean hat, which also has another name on Ravelry. And this time I decided to do a different hat pattern. This is one I had used in the fall when making some hats. This is Lion Brand Adult Simple Hat Pattern, and I will link this down below. And I should have said that I do have show notes, and they will be in the description box down below, where I usually list patterns, sometimes the links to yarn. And if you ever have questions about anything, if I didn't post something and you have a question, please feel free to either write something in the comments, or you can contact me by direct message on Ravelry or on Instagram. Those links are also available down there. So I'm using this hat. I just started this a couple days ago, and this is knitting up really fast. So 2.5 inches of a brim, and then you knit the body of the hat to, I think, 6.5, and then you'll do the crown decreases. It is turning out rather large. There we go. Yep. So I remember when I made it in the fall, they did turn out a bit large with this pattern. But I am planning on gifting these for charity. So I think, you know, someone with a bigger head, although I'm not sure anybody has a bigger head than mine, but I think it will be a very warm hat for somebody. So my idea is that I would like to knit or crochet a hat, one hat each month to donate to charity. I was able to donate some hats in the fall. There was a group at the college where I teach that was collecting items to take to a shelter in Lincoln, and so I was able to donate some things for that. And I know Darcy of Chit Knits. Hi, Darcy, if you're watching. She is hosting a year-long make-along where you are, the idea is to make some things for charity. So if you are interested in doing any kind of charity knitting, you may want to check out her group. But I had gotten this yarn. I had been looking at this yarn for a while. I just thought it was really fun with that self patterning, you know, Fair Isle, where you don't have to do any stranded holding color work. It just, the yarn does the magic for you. So it has been really fun and really quick to work on this. So you can see I'm just all about the pretty easy projects right now. I have 2 more works in progress to share. I have a new sock cast on. So this is the only sock whip I currently have. Along with the dishcloths for my sister, I would like to gift her a pair of socks. And I'm making some more summery type socks. I'm making the Rose City Roller pattern by Mara Catherine Bryner. Lots of people have made this sock pattern. I just did this in a couple days. This works up really fast because you just do very little of a cuff and then you go right into the heel flap and gusset. But I am really close to being ready to put in the toe. So this has been really fun. This is my 3rd time making the Rose City Roller. I did make a pair for myself last summer. I enjoyed wearing them. I made a pair for my daughter-in-law for her birthday in a Halloween color scheme, orange and black. And then this was a little sock set that I had. The yarn is by Maker's Haven, who no longer dyes yarn, sadly. She was one of my favorite yarn dyers. And Jeff, my husband, asked me, well, why was she one of your favorites? And I think, you know, she never or rarely did repeatable colors. It was always just kind of what came out of her imagination. And I really just loved what she did, you know, how she colored her yarn. So it came with a 50-gram sock or 50-gram skein and then a 20-gram mini skein. So it was a 70-gram sock set. So this is what I will be adding for the toe. And then there will be some leftovers to do something with the Scrappy project. But I've been saving this little sock kit, and it doesn't have a colorway name. It literally says Little Sock Kit on here. So Maker's Haven and Little Sock Kit. And, you know, these were just, you know, a smaller sock kit was a little bit more affordable than like a full skein back at the time. And she just had a number of cute little sock kits. So I have a number of them still on my shelf. So it is really fun to work on these. I will share something else about Amber from Maker's Haven. She is also a writer and has several books. And her first book, I don't know if it was her first book that she wrote, but possibly, and I think it was on Luna Time or something like that. It had the word Luna in it, and it was a 3-book series. I do have all 3 books, and it had to do with time travel, and it was just a really creative book, and just really fun to think about and imagine the what ifs of traveling back in time. So I really enjoy her writing too. So I think I will link those in the show notes too. So Maker's Haven, and this is the Rose City Roller, and I do have a little stitch marker on the back that my friend Heidi, who also has a podcast, Yarn at Heidi, that she made and had gifted to me, a little beaded sock. So that is living in this Valentine's Day bag that I got many years ago. This is by Freckled Whimsy, and I don't think she does bags anymore, to my knowledge. She does fantastic self-striping yarn, but this was a collaboration between her and Legacy Fiber Arts with this bag and a skein of Valentine themed yarn, I believe, if I have that right. So this cute fabric, and on the inside it has this white fabric with the red writing that says love, I think it does. Yep, love. This is the only Valentine's Day bag I had, so I thought it would be fun to pull it out for this sock project. And then speaking of Valentine's Day, I think my next sweater definitely, I'm knitting it at the right time because it definitely is giving me a little bit of the Valentine vibes just with the color. I did share this in the last podcast. This is the Midnight Garden Pullover by Andrea Rangel, and it is from this book, Knitovation Stitch Dictionary. It says 150 modern colorwork knitting motifs. And I was gifted this book by my husband Jeff for Christmas. And the idea is there are all of these different charts that you could incorporate into different projects, whether they be hats or sweaters. And then there are some projects also in the book. And I told Jeff that, you know, if I were to incorporate colorwork in a project on my own, I probably need to do it in the summer when I'm not when I'm not teaching, when my brain is a little more clear. But I really fell in love with the sweater in this book, and it's called Midnight Garden Pullover. And I'll just flash this quickly so you can see that. And let me show you where I am. I had just started the color work in the last podcast. It is a DK weight sweater, and I have made some really good progress. It's kind of bunched up on the needles now, but let me show you what it looks like. I hope you are seeing it, sort of. Sort of what it looks like. So I am in the flower. I actually only have 2 final rows. I just don't know how to show this the best, you guys. I'm sorry. Let me just hold it up this way, maybe, and pull it out a little bit. So hopefully you can see that the beautiful leaves and floral motif that is going on here. I wasn't really sure about the color combination, but I didn't want to buy yarn. I had a significant amount of this light pink yarn in my stash that I think a while ago I was planning to make a cardigan, and that never came to fruition. And then I decided, well, I'm gonna use it for this sweater. The yarn is so this yarn is I got it from Hobby Hobby a few years ago, and it is Easy Care Merino Classic DK weight. It is really affordable. It is very soft, very nice to work with. They classify it as a DK light worsted. I would definitely say it's a DK weight yarn. And then for the red, in the color work, I am using a skein of fingering weight yarn that I divided into 2 50-gram cakes of yarn that are really falling apart. And so I thought it would be a fun pop of color to do the pink and the red together. I think I shared last time that I was seeing some different sweaters you know, in stores with the pink and the red together that I really liked. And I have dreams of maybe knitting someday a red and pink striped cardigan. I think that would be fun. But I thought it would be fun to try this color work. The red yarn is from Knitted Wit. I found the tag, and it is called Lover's Knot. I actually won the yarn. It was a sock kit of yarn with beads, but that was a number of years ago, and I hadn't used it. I held up 2 reds with my pink to kind of decide which I liked best, and this one won. So this is a blend of 70% cashmere, or no, 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon. Very, very soft. Very, very soft. It is a little challenging because I'm working with 1 strand of the light pink, and I'm holding 2 strands of the red together to get, you know, sort of a matching gauge, which, to be honest, the red is bulkier held together than the DK. But I'm hoping that, you know, blocking will smooth some of that out. I am really anxious to finish the color work part of this and just get into the regular knitting part. I'll tell you why. I should tell you first that it is in this bag by Ginger Root Bags. She was on Etsy. I don't know if she's selling anymore, but I really like this bag. Every time I sit down to knit this project, I have my book on my lap or nearby, and I have, you know, the sweater, and I have the yarn. I'm holding the pink in one hand, I'm holding the 2 strands of red in the other hand, and without fail, my cat Reese's comes and wants to plop on my lap, and you know, she tries to retch herself up to sit higher and sits on the yarn, sits on the sweater. It's just, it seems without fail, she knows when I am knitting this and she wants to come and sit with me, which is very, very sweet. But it has made doing the color work a little cumbersome and maybe a little labor intensive, because it's hard maneuvering the yarn, the book, and the cat. I haven't put as much time into this just because it does require a little bit more focused time reading the color work charts. It is not hard by any means. The charts are very easy to follow. There are 2 different ones, whether you're doing, you know, a light background with a darker color like I am, or there is a version where it's a dark color. Let's see if I can find it. Dark color with a, yeah, this one right here with a lighter background, and they give you the two different colored charts. So no matter what your yarn choices are, it's very easy to follow. I am just looking at this as a long-term project. We'll see if it gets faster once I just get into the regular light pink colorway and can divide for sleeves and then just do the body. We'll see if it goes a little quicker. It is very cold right now, and this would be wonderful to wear right now, but I don't know if I will finish it in time for really cold weather. I guess it depends on in March or early April, which is maybe a loose knitting goal. If it's still cold, then maybe I will get a little wear out of it. Otherwise, it probably will be for next year, and that is perfectly fine too. It has been really nice working on it. Like I said, just the colors have been really fun to work on around Valentine's Day, and I really do love how it is knitting up. So those are my works in progress. Those are the projects that I have finished. I have tried to be a little bit more relaxed with my knitting and not try to maybe hurry so much, or not always focus on I have to get this done, I have to get this done, I have to get this done. Which for me, you know, I've always been a planner. I like lists of things, but I'm trying to take it a little bit more easy. Having said that, I have so many wonderful projects that I would love to work on this year. I'm sure you all have fun plans too. I would love to hear about them. I guess I'm going to share some dream knitting, crocheting, and some yarns that are inspiring me, and some projects that I am thinking about. So we'll get into that. It's kind of a mix of my stream of consciousness, patterns, yarns, all my thoughts. So the first pattern I will share is the Puffy Heart Basket. I'm going to include a picture. The designer is Simply Made by Erin, and I don't know if these yarns up here are showing. I can actually take them down for the moment. These are the yarns that I would use in the project. So it's a crochet project with a very bulky weight yarn. I suspect this is, yep, super bulky. This is a 6. And I just saw this project come across Instagram. And I was like, oh, I really think those baskets are cute. So it calls for the 3 colors. This is cranberry, and this is Wool Ease, Lion Brand Wool Ease, thick and quick. So cranberry and rouge and potion. So those are the colors that the designer used, and I thought it would be really fun to work on that. It's like a heart puff stitch. So I'm thinking I probably should maybe work on it this week, possibly, just so it's maybe seasonal. Maybe it would be fun to work it seasonally, or at least in the month of February, do that. I said I was gifted some yarn, or gifted some, a gift card from Joann's. And so this is what I used some of my Joann money on. So that is the first project that I think is really fun. This yarn, I'm going to share this yarn. This is Punk Rock Unicorn. This is a German yarn. Yep, Punk Rock Unicorn is the yarn label. And the colorway is Provence, and just this fun purple, pink, some brownie colors in there, little blips of orange. So this is a beautiful sock yarn, and I'm going to tell you how this came into my stash. Very special. My daughter Jenna, she goes to the University of Nebraska. She is a music student, and her choir was asked to sing for the inauguration. And I'm not going to get into politics here. That's not what this is about. But anyway, she went to DC for the inauguration to sing. That was the choir's task, was to sing. And if you're interested in that part of it, because it was moved indoors, her group actually did not sing for the inauguration. They were pre-inauguration, so they were in the Capitol Rotunda, basically singing to an empty space. But anyway, they had opportunity to sing in some other places in DC. They got to do some touring. Ultimately, she decided to go because it was part of history, and she had never been to DC, so was excited to go for that reason. But they had some free time, and she asked a friend, hey, do you want to go to a yarn store? So she got an Uber and went to a yarn store, I think in DuPont Circle. I can't remember the name of the yarn store, but she picked out this beautiful sock yarn. And I just thought this was so lovely and so sweet of her. You know, she was on this whirlwind trip where they were sightseeing. They went all of these different places. She had a couple hours off, and she went to a yarn store for her mom. So my sweet daughter Jenna, I just love that. And I think this is so pretty. So I haven't started any socks with it because I definitely wanted to show it here before I did that. But I think that is so pretty. So again, Punk Rock Unicorn yarn, a German hand-dyed yarn. And the store where she bought it, they are the only store that carries it in the United States. So that's pretty cool. All right, so I have some other yarns that are maybe calling to me right now. I have a couple people that I'm thinking about for Christmas or birthdays this year that I am going to be knitting for. I purchased this Regia yarn from Wool Warehouse when I put my order in the last time for my blanket yarn. So this is a Regia sock yarn, black and navy, and the color, I do not know. Color is 03891. It's an Arnie and Carlos. But I plan to make one of my nieces a pair of socks in this. I talked to her mom and she said she really likes blacks and blues together. And she has a December birthday, so that gives me plenty of time. But you know, I love the self-patterning yarns. I think this will be really fun to work up. She's definitely the person with the smallest foot that I will knit for, and so that's kind of appealing too. But I think I will that will hop on my needles at some point. I have had this skein of yarn in my stash for a number of years. And I think I was going to make a cowl. I think I saw this on All the Stitches with Colleen, and I believe you made a cowl with it, Colleen, if you're watching. But I think I would like to use this for one of my hats that I am knitting this year. And the hat is the M hat or EM hat. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I saw the hat, or I was looking, how did this come about? I saw the hat pattern on another podcast. I'm trying to think through. I've just caught a couple this week. Avery Lane Creations. She's a yarn dyer and she has been knitting a number of hats. So I think she may be the one that talked about this pattern, and I believe it's free. When I went on the projects that were made with this with that pattern, the EM pattern, I saw someone had knit it with this yarn. I thought, ooh, that is really pretty. So I think I would like to do that. This is stashed from 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So it's ready to be used, and it sure is bright and colorful. So I think that will be really fun. I also would like to cast on, I have this other, I guess it's also a Regia yarn. This color is 07710. I have had this in my yarn stash for a very long time, and I plan to use this to knit a pair of socks for Jeff's uncle for Christmas. He is very knit worthy. I have knit him a hat. I think it was the Antler Toque by Tin Can Knits. I have knit him a cable scarf because he had told me he wanted a cable scarf to match the cabled hat. And I thought it would be really fun to knit him a pair of socks. So I had texted him and asked him, you know, is this something you might be interested in, you know, a pair of socks? He said, oh yes, please. So I think that will be fun to work those up. So you can see I'm trying to think ahead for occasions this year, like my sister's birthday and Christmas. I do always like to think ahead. I have this skein of yarn, which has been, again, the Yarn at Home Mom. I don't even remember. I'm not sure when I got this. This was a number of years ago. It's really pretty. I don't know if you can see in there that there is stellina in there, which is really, really pretty. But this is appealing to me because it is a tonal in this dark green colorway. And as I have been, you know, picking out socks to wear with my clothes for work, I noticed that I do have a lot of tops, you know, with dark green in it. I can think of three tops right off the bat that this yarn would go really well with for socks. So I would like to knit this yarn up. I think at some point I would get a lot of use out of that. So this yarn, I'm kind of keeping these yarns in this black and white basket, just yarns that are I'm kind of thinking about, or yeah, things that I would like to make this year, although, you know, the basket is not big enough for everything I'd like to do, but certainly is fun. So I am thinking I would like to do, I can't think of the pattern now. So not just a plain sock, but it's a sock that has like faux cables in faux little cables in them that I did knit a pair before. And if I think about it, I will include a picture of those socks here, but I'm thinking of using the same pattern for this sock yarn. And then I know I had showed this before, but this was yarn that I had also picked up at Knit Paper Scissors, and it is so soft and fuzzy. Oh, it is just so soft. It feels so good. And they had come up with a cowl pattern. And so I would, this winter time, I think it would be really fun to work up a cowl or 2 cowls with this yarn. This is for real. And it feels so good. It feels so good. It will be knit on a really big knitting needle, like a size 13, which is definitely bigger than I'm used to, but I think that would be really fun. Oh, and in the bottom of my basket, I've actually been looking for these, some more needle stoppers. I have I have been looking for these. These are little snowman faces. Can you see a snowman face and then like the rest of his snowman body? Oh, that's so fun. I really have been looking for those stitch stoppers. So I'm going to take those out now. The other 2 yarns that are in this basket were yarns that I purchased on D-Stash. So yes, I have been purchasing some yarn, and it probably needs to calm down a little bit. But these yarns are by a Homespun House, who is another German yarn dyer, and it's just kind of cost prohibitive now to buy to buy her yarns, even though I'm in love with her yarn. But these were on a D-Stash. So this is a Homespun House Cabin in the Woods. So this is a Little House on the Prairie inspired sock set, which I love. I love the books, The Little House on the Prairie. I would read them to my kids when they were younger. I loved the show. So that is a Little House on the Prairie inspired. And then one of her Advent sock sets was available too, and I was really excited. This is In the Bleak Midwinter, and In the Bleak Midwinter is the title of a Christmas hymn. I just really love this. That combination together. I think this would make really cute color work in the sock. I don't know if I will try that, but or it would be toes or cuffs, but I think that would actually make some really cute color work in the socks. I just love that poppy red pop. I think that is so fun. So those are some of the yarns that I'm thinking about, oops, excuse me, that are inspiring me. And then I said I ordered yarn from Joann's, but I also went to Joann's recently. I'm sure most of you, if you are knitters or crocheters, and if you watch knitting or crocheting podcasts, have certainly heard the news about Joann's, that they've declared bankruptcy for a second time. And I, after watching a couple podcasts where people were reporting about this, I thought, I think I want to go, to my Joann's in Lincoln. So that's the closest one, which is about 45 minutes away. I thought I just want to go see, how my store is doing. It is in really sad shape. And I'm going to show yarn in a minute, but I'm just on a little tangent here. So yeah, when I walked in, I noticed, there were only 2 people working, and this was on a Saturday. There were a lot of customers in the store, but only 2 workers, which I understand from listening to some other people and talking to other people, that's been kind of typical for some of the Joann stores, that they don't have many employees working at one time. But the floors really were dirty. There was, I don't want to say garbage on them, but you know, little scraps of this and that. It really needed a good sweeping. It needed a good mopping. Um, they kind of had all of the seasons out, you know, as I walked up and down the different aisles, so I could find still Christmas clearance, which that I totally get that. That's fine. And they were starting to bring out spring stuff, but they had stuff for, you know, Christmas, Halloween, spring, summer. So any and every season was represented. I walked through the fabric, and yeah, the cotton fabric was, you know, it used to be in aisles of bolts of fabric, but now it was only along the walls. And most of the fabric section, or a big part, the majority of the fabric selection was fleece. But then when I thought I'm going to look for yarn. The yarn was all over the store in many different locations. So that was a little odd. They had boxes set up in certain spots. They had end caps with yarn. They do have a yarn department where some of those yarns were, but it was just, yeah, it was just kind of, I don't know. It felt kind of like a thrift store, Joann, with just a number of different things, or hodgepodge of things. So it made me really, really sad, because Joann's has been a special store for me for a number of years. When my mother-in-law was living, she and I often went to Joann's on our visits, either when I would go to her house in Cincinnati, or when she would come here. We would often go. She was an avid crafter too. That was something that we had in common. We were both crafters, whether it be crochet or paper crafts. We both did rubber stamping. I think we tried a number of different crafts together, jewelry making. So I just have really good memories of her and I going to Joann's. Yeah, I've been going to Joann's for so many years now that it makes me sad to see the state that my Joann's is in. And listening, I know we don't know anything for sure, but listening to people talk about it, listening to what's being said, it seems a little bleak. So I'm hoping for the best, but I thought I would, at least since I don't get there very often anymore, I thought, well, I'm going to at least take one more trip there and see. So I did buy some yarn, like you do. I'm reaching down here. So I got 2 of these Pound of Love. This is Lion Brand Pound of Love. I think it's the cherry color. It's the cherry colorway. So I love this red. I told Jeff, there was a number of years ago, it's when our kids were really little. We didn't even live in this state, so it's been a while. And he had bought me a red sweater for Christmas, and you know, it's since been gone. But I absolutely loved that sweater, and I have really never found anything quite like it since then. I don't think I have any. Well, I do have one kind of red sweater that I knit, but it has some color work on it. It says knit, purl, and yarn, which I should wear sometime. It's a fun sweater, but just a traditional fun red pullover sweater I would like. So I did get 2 skeins of this, which I don't even know that I would need 2 of these. Each has 1,020 yards, so I believe this is going to go a very long way. And then I also got, let's see, it looks like 4 skeins of Lion Brand's Fisherman's Wool. These were all on a really good sale when I got them. So Lion Brand's Fisherman Wool in the oatmeal colorway. I had watched the Night Owl Fibers podcast. Hi, Brandon, Rachel, if you happen to be watching. And Rachel had knit a cardigan, and it turned out that she gifted it to her mom, Brenda. And I thought it was just such, and I don't know what color you used. Maybe it was the same color, but I just thought such a pretty, simple, basic cardigan would be really nice in this color. So I am kind of on the hunt. You know, yarns that are speaking to me right now. I am kind of on the hunt for sweaters to make with that yarn. So for the red yarn, a sweater just came available new on Ravelry that I have fallen in love with. This is the the Mist Fall Sweater by Darling Shador. It was new as a pattern in January 20, January this year. It's worsted weight. I'm going to include pictures here. I love the neckline on there and the hem and even the side seam. It is so, so pretty, and I think it would look really beautiful in that red colorway. Now, the fisherman's wool, I want it to be a cardigan. I've got 4 that I'm sort of interested in, but I haven't decided anything for sure. After making the Felix cardigan, I knit that in that kind of periwinkle purpley blue color, and the button band just didn't work like I liked it to. I still have yet to sew that sweater closed. But you know, I was thinking about cardigans. I have not been super successful in well-fitting cardigans, with the exception of a crochet one I made last year. But they tend to fall backwards a little bit. And I definitely don't like picking up and knitting the button band. Not that it's hard, it's not, but it's just simply one of the things I really do not enjoy doing. I just don't enjoy doing that, and it's often hard at the bottom of the cardigan after you've knit that button band to make that bottom portion. If you've done this before, you probably know what I'm saying. Sometimes it tends to scrunch up a little bit. But I just don't enjoy that. So I'm kind of on the lookout for a cardigan where you are knitting the button band as you are knitting the body. So whether you call this, you know, an integrated button band, a contiguous button band, a vertical button band, I'm not really completely sure about that. You know, I've had a hard time figuring out how to put it into a search engine in Ravelry, because those are the cardigans that I would like to be looking at. But 4 patterns that I am interested in so far. The first one is Bex by Isabel Kramer. I'm going to include a picture of that here. So all of these, I believe you are knitting the button band as you knit the cardigan, which that's what I'm very interested in. The Ola cardigan by Vert and Rose. And if you aren't familiar with Vert and Rose, she has, I think, some of the most beautiful feminine sweaters out there. Lovely, lovely cardigan sweaters. I love her style. It's just very pretty. The Avena cardigan by Heidi Peterson. That is very interesting to me, just because it combines crochet and knitting, which I think could be tricky gauge wise. I'm not really sure about that, but I think that would be really interesting with, you know, those bands of crochet granny squares and then the rest knit. I think that could be really interesting. Or something that looks very basic is the Step by Step cardigan by Florence Miller. And I would not put buttons on any of these. I just want an open cardigan. My most worn cardigans are my cardigans that are very inexpensive. They are from Walmart. They don't have buttons. Do they have buttons? No, I think they are just open cardigans. They're really lightweight, and I just love those. Those are the cardigans that I tend to gravitate towards. So I guess I don't really need a cardigan with buttons, but I like the idea of a basic rustic kind of wool. This is more of a rustic wool, the fisherman's wool, but I understand that it softens a bit with, you know, when you wet block it and everything. So I know this was a lot of talking and a lot of sharing through yarns and patterns, but I was so happy to be able to talk with you all. Just some other things that have been going on. I don't think I shared this in the last podcast, but our kids, for Christmas, gifted Jeff and I tickets to see Jerry Seinfeld. We love the show Seinfeld, and he and Jim Gaffigan are on tour, and they were coming to Omaha. So our kids gifted us tickets to see them, and we did go to that in January, and it was so much fun. I laughed so hard that my cheekbones hurt at the end of the evening. It was so much fun. So that's something we've done recently. Things that we have been enjoying watching. We finished season 2 of The Night Agent on Netflix, and that is so good. That show is so suspenseful. If you like any kind of political dramas, CIA stuff, spy stuff, it's a really good show, and it's something that Jeff and I both enjoy, so that was really fun. My favorite show, though, has to be on the Hallmark Channel, and it's called The Way Home. And maybe you should let me know if you watched it, but it has to do with time travel. So that is one of the things that I really enjoy, either reading or watching stuff with, you know, his history in it, time travel romance. And so that show kind of has it all. So it's in season 3 right now. It's called The Way Home, and I absolutely love that. So other than that, I've been keeping really busy with my piano teaching at the college and at the elementary school. It is all going very well, but keeping me very busy. I do knit every day. I was sharing with somebody, that is my outlet when I come home. That is my treat to myself, that I get to do some knitting or crocheting. So I think that is all that I have for you today. It has been so fun catching up again. I hope that you are all doing well. I would love to hear what you are working on. If you liked this podcast, please consider subscribing to this channel. And if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be great. Until the next one, take care. Bye-bye.